we'll move on to the 33 who ranked the top 25. Number 20, Penn State. 0-5 start last year, then the 4 straight wins.
Yeah, I think that was the problem, was the start, going 0-5. With COVID happening, the Big Ten was in flux the entire time, and James Franklin will get this team turned around. I'm not sure how high they'll climb, but they'll be better than they started last season.
Huskies are going to be fun to watch, man. Jimmy Lake, obviously, Chris Peterson did a great job. Cade Otton's one of the best tight ends in the country. Big physical offensive line. If they can get their offense rolling, I think we always count on their defense. Quarterback will be an interesting position to watch, Joe.
We will see. Bill Morris is back, but young Sam Heward is there. Number 18 is Iowa, Joey.
Is Kirk Ferentz back again?
23 years in, he is.
23 years
in, he's in.
Yeah, the Big Ten West is always up for grabs. Northwestern came out of nowhere and grabbed it last season, but the Iowa Hawkeyes will have something to say. Look for Wisconsin to also be good.
Indiana, magical 2020. What do they do for an encore?
Well, it's a magical 2020, but what does that lead to? That leads to Texas A&M, Auburn, Ole Miss, USC, Stanford, Michigan, transfers. All usually the depth is their problem. Now they're getting big-time transfers, and obviously Penix Jr. getting healthy.
Wisconsin needs a bounce back this year.
They do, and you expect them to run the ball. Expect them to be good at their offensive line. They got a number of guys coming back. They'll be physical. They could find a way to make big plays down the field. Their offense is unstoppable.
So we continue on our power rankings. Remember, we asked 33 experts here at ESPN to rank their preseason top 25.
Apparently the Big Ten was the big emphasis here.
Through 16. But you know what's interesting, David? When I look through this group here, when I look through Penn State, Washington, Iowa, Indiana, Wisconsin, this is where I think you could have a swing team or two. You could have a team that's not quite as good, that disappoints, or a team that launches forward. And Wisconsin is very intriguing to me because Wisconsin, perhaps more than any program last year, was really impacted by COVID and some of the critical losses. Graham Mertz is a very talented quarterback. Jalen Berger has some wiggle to him at running back. Jim Leonard and that veteran defense and what they're capable of. They could be a team that you look at from a year and go, say, that's the Wisconsin we're used to seeing.
Here's what I'll say about that. When you look at all those teams, Wisconsin and Iowa, I know what I'm getting. They have the blueprint of what they are, who they are. They have the coaches that have done it for a long time. Mertz is the wild card for me. Yeah, he had the COVID, but I don't know if it was the guy that started who was like 21 of 22 and wowed us and one of the most heralded recruits you've ever seen at Wisconsin at quarterback, or was the guy that looked very indecisive and turned the football over late in the season? If he's what he showed last year early in the season and he's taken those steps, dude, they've always been able to run it. And then you play action game, and I think it could be a special season for Wisconsin. But I know who Wisconsin is. I know who Iowa is. Is Indiana going to be a team that has staying power? That'll be fun to watch.
Indiana's the team that became fun to watch last season because you're right. Awesome. With Iowa, with Wisconsin, you know they're going to run the football, and if they can run it, then they'll be successful with their quarterback, whoever that guy is. With Indiana, what Tom Allen did with that team and made them a conversation at the end, we hadn't had that before, especially out of the Big Ten. Now Indiana becomes a team you'd have never guessed they'd be ranked ahead of a Wisconsin or Iowa or Penn State in these teams, but because of what they did last season, they deserve that credit. Now, can they build on it? Because if they don't, then it doesn't matter.
Well, and they've already built on it. Like I talked about, I mean, you talk about those teams that guys that transferred over, they're believing. And Tom, he's not going anywhere. If you watched him on game day and all the specials we did on him, that dude, you believe everything he's selling because he's got a pure heart, and you could tell the guys do too. So now you bring in all these transfers. It's going to be a fun ride for Indiana.
And you mentioned transfers. Young guys don't know the history of Indiana. They weren't around for all the
young guys don't know the history of anything.
That's right. They know last year is what they knew, so they're transferring in to get there and play for a coach who inspires, galvanizes, motivates, and pushes things forward.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.